And perfect timing. Lovely Donna is here. It's like clockwork, isn't it? Welcome, Donna. Lovely to have you on the show.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Tita.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Perfect. So Donna is going to talk to us about Hill Robinson Elite and a little bit about what you do, the company, and what your aims and goals are, and then we will talk a little bit more about Crew and the main focus for today, direct employment onshore and the transition between working on board and working on land. So yes, tell us a little bit about many of us know you very well, Donna. You're a very beloved person within the industry, but for anybody that's perhaps new or doesn't know you quite so well, tell us a little bit about you and Hill Robinson Elite.
Okay, a quick background to myself. I actually joined the yachting industry quite late. I was in my mid-30s and I had a midlife crisis, so to speak. So prior to that, I was general manager for an event management company. So I used to head up sporting events and cultural events all over Australia. So that was my background. And then I headed over and joined yachting. Started off as a stewardess, worked my way up to chief stewardess, worked on motor yachts, sail yachts, and did that for several years. And during one of my tenures, my owner said, I'd like you to come back for the following season. And at that time, it was like, I can't guarantee. And he said, I'd like to keep paying you on a retainer and you go and do something that you'd like to do. He was a wonderful owner. And I said, well, I'd like to learn about yacht management. He said, okay, that's fine. Let me give a call to Hill Robinson, who look after us. And so I went and did work experience with Hill Robinson. So that's how it started. I was I was put into the accounts department, where I was put to work processing invoices, and spent 6 months. And during that time, ended up doing budgeting and a whole range of things. And when I left, they said, well, if you're ever looking for a job, we'd love to have you back. So I went back and did another season and then went, okay, I think I'd really like to work for Hill Robinson and to be based in Antibes. So I went back and worked for them. And that's how I made my transition across from yachting to land. And then from there, spent time with Hill Robinson, worked in all the different departments, yacht management. Unfortunately, personal circumstances saw me return back to Australia. And then I headed out to Abu Dhabi and set up a yacht management division over there. Once again, personal circumstances saw me come home. And when I came back to Australia, that's when I joined recruitment. I was working for Superyacht Crew International, a company based in Sydney. And then I rejoined Hill Robinson 4 years ago. And so set up the Australian division of Hill Robinson, and now heading up our recruitment division, which is HR Crew and HR Elite. And I've got a team of 14 girls all around the world, and I do that based from Australia.
Well, fantastic. Number one, what a fantastic owner. That's certainly a dream transition to have the support from somebody like that. And certainly we've talked in length here at Life After Yachting about the fact that a big part of this entire movement is us all being able to give back to crew and support crew that have supported us as professionals over the years. So that's a lovely example of an owner doing exactly the same and supporting his or her crew and giving you the space to develop yourself in the areas that you want to. So yes, some fantastic. So Hill Robinson Elite then. So do you work with all types of crew recruitment? Do you have a focus on a specific area? Tell us a little bit about your unique selling points.
Okay, so we have obviously HR Crew, which has been around. We are celebrating our 10-year anniversary next month, actually. So HR Crew is now 10 years old. So that services our fleet of yachts. Obviously, Hill Robinson has a large fleet, so HR Crew was designed to service that. We do have other clients as well, and so that's our crew division. What has happened from our crew division is that we have had some of our owners and clients who say, okay, you look after our yachts, can you please also look after my estate, some aviation, some stewardesses, etc. for my planes. So what we've done is we've set up HR Elite Recruit, which is to focus on the land-based and shore-based opportunities. And it is also to recruit for Hill Robinson. We are a growing company. We do have 12 offices around the world. And we've always got positions, within house. So HR Elite Recruit looks after that side of it. So we focus on, crew that are transitioning, crew that would like to go land-based, and we do the reverse too. We have some land-based people that we introduce to yachting. So there's a cross-pollination, so to speak, between the two departments. Most importantly, finding people the right and keeping them happy.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the reasons I think you're a perfect addition to the Life After Yachting movement. Is one of the discussions we've had is crew often find it hard to seek employers on land who, number one, understand what they've been doing on board the yachts, and partly the companies understanding what they do, but partly the crew understanding how their skills transfer. And I think there is support that we can give to crew to help them and encourage them to go, no, you are a fantastic project manager. You're not just the job title that you have on board, but the skills from that position actually translate to a plethora of land-based work. So a company such as Hill Robinson, who obviously is part of the heart of yachting, the fact that you are actively seeking crew to come and work on land, and also helping land-based people to go and seek out jobs on board if that's what they're looking for, is exactly what we're trying to help here with, and to make that transition easier. So yeah, and I think this is it. Especially there's sort of two sides of this. There are companies who are yachting companies who just get the fact that the knowledge and experience that crew bring to their company is invaluable, and then you have companies who are perhaps other hospitality sectors, or other engineering companies for the engineers, or obviously chefs working in different environments, and whatever we can do to make sure crew have the biggest choice, I think, of jobs, estate jobs. So that's another path that we've discussed and we'll be discussing, obviously, with some of our Nunu from Earth and Sea Elite has that same experience, and he actually did the same. He went from being a captain to managing a grand estate on land, and I think that having somebody to help those opportunities and to explain to both sides what the opportunity is really important. So yeah, it would be interesting to know, actually, in terms of with you with HR Elite, the types of positions that you have. You've kind of explained a few of them there, but perhaps you could tell us about some of the ways that you help and support crew to find those positions. Do you offer advice, guidance, and things like that you would help crew to make the move?
Definitely. And I mean, it comes down to simple CVs. As we know, yachting CVs are very specific in how they are, and tailoring it to land-based, and we do that vice versa. When we are looking for internal positions, we're recruiting for an office administrator, for example, in our Fort Lauderdale office at the moment. We would love somebody that comes from the yachting background and to come into those positions. The skills that you bring from understanding the industry, the idea of teamwork, the idea of getting in and doing a job are very important. It's interesting enough, I was just going through, of my 14 girls in my team, 9 of them are ex-chief stewardesses. So there we go, definitely. We've got another division, which is a crew support division that looks after a lot of logistics and transportation, etc. And they're ex-pursers and ex-chief stewardesses as well. So, you know, the skills that they've got and the way they work too, you know, as a team, they're all working remotely, but they're willing to get in, you know, some of them are on night shift. It's a land night shift, but the concept of night shift isn't a foreign thing to them because, you know, they're used to doing it on board. So, you know, the skills, but I think it's the attitude and the way people work. You know, those of us who've worked on yachts, it is very unique. And when you take that across, and that it translates to estates as well, you know, very similarly. So we help them. I think, you know, the hardest part often is the salary when you go from yachting to land. I think that's not the biggest shock. You know, when I do talk to people and they go, oh, I'm looking to do it. And it's like, okay, first thing you're going to be aware, you're going to be at least possibly half your salary, if not a third. And that's a big shock a lot of the time. And land-based also, you know, estates, the salaries are a lot lower normally, and there's not the benefits of, you know, rotation as much as well. So there's a lot to take in. I mean, I've seen people, you know, settle down and then go back out again. But we definitely try and help them and explain it and guide them the best we can.
Fantastic. Yes, I've funnily enough had a conversation just last week with an ex-stewardess who was looking for some land-based work, and I had the conversation with her about salary expectations. And one of the things I found, and it was a completely a simple mistake, but she was so used to working on a monthly salary number, so just knowing, you know, I earn this much per month. And then she was looking at land-based jobs, and obviously everything is an annual salary. And she just completely miscalculated what that annual salary meant in terms of what was the real. And I kind of had to gently tell her, no, we're actually talking about maybe a quarter of what you think that is. And we kind of did the sum together. And it was a completely honest mistake. And she laughed at herself and went, oh, you know, never was great at maths at school kind of thing. But yes, there's, you know, simple things like, which also goes back to the finance conversation we were talking about with Emma. Make sure your figures are correct. And perhaps get somebody to check your sums. But yes, it's the salary difference is big, isn't it? And and the rotation. And I've spoken with crew who, if the crew wants that land-based work, often they appreciate the other benefits that come with working on land. So they appreciate that they can actually leave work and have actually left work for the night and have that complete switch off. And I think some of the process I've heard crew have to go through, and that's sometimes why I think they take a while to actually leave yachting. You know, they kind of have the idea and they look at it and they go and they think about it for a while, and then they do another season, and I'll just do another season, is kind of weighing up the benefit, because there are benefits to both. There are huge benefits to working in yachting and there are huge benefits to working on land, but you kind of have to justify definitely the salary difference in terms of the life that you want to lead, I think. So and interesting, the other point that I'd love to I know we've only got about 10 minutes left, but certainly going back the other way, and this is something that we're going to be focusing on more and more. Life After Yachting has developed hugely in just well, about a year now we've been working on it. And you know, originally it was all about helping crew with the transition onto land, and then our support network has built just to help people in terms of making the decisions around it and making sure that they have the tools and the advice to make those changes. But more and more now we're focusing also on coming back the other way and making sure crew who want to go back to yachting have the same support and the same opportunities. So I'd be interested in some of your experiences of crew going from a land-based job back to yachting, and are they easily accepted? Are there any obstacles that they might find because they've spent some time on land? Is it kind of seen as a good, a bad, you know, that kind of thing?
I have seen it mostly like and purses, etc. Even, you know, I've seen the captains who will go and do project management, and then go back out. I know from our point of view, we will always look at someone's total experience. You know, what you go and do from that time on land. If you've gone from, you know, being a chief stewardess and then gone and worked in an estate, you've developed your skills. Yes, I mean, I will always say, why do you want to go back? That's the biggest thing. You know, what's your reason for going back? And most of the time, you know, people, it as we know, yachting is very hard to leave, and they want to really want to go back. If the passion is there and the willingness to go back, I think is the most important thing. Unfortunately, if you hear the money, I think that's often a concern, to go back just for the money. But we will always look, you know, even when we see CVs, you know, you'll see a gap in a CV and it might be a year, and we'll say, well, what were you doing? I was traveling. Okay, great. You know, traveling is fantastic. Put it on there. Where did you travel? What did you do? Or, you know, I did a course. Of course, you know, there is time off, but if it's adding value to you personally and your skill set, you know, that's the most important part. I think sometimes age is a factor, and as we know, yachting is their age is definitely there. It's, you know, we know that. It is harder sometimes, and at the moment especially, there is such a large number of crew, with commercial and the cruise industry. There are so many crew out there looking. It's extremely competitive. I had a gentleman, you know, contact me the other day, and he was in yachting. He's got his own business in South Africa, and then he was going to go and do his courses and go back out there. And I just said to him, just be careful of that, because it's really tough. It's a really tough market at the moment, and you are in competition with a lot of younger crew, you know, that possibly will be chosen over you, and that's the reality. You know, older people, it depends, of course, on the program and the boats. You older, wiser heads are often, you know, depending on the owner and the program, they know they're going to be more settled, and possibly have better longevity as well. So taking those factors into account.
Yeah, interestingly, yes, longevity. I was just thinking exactly that. Then they're for not that I'm a yacht owner, maybe one day, but as an owner, yeah, always have high hopes. But as an owner or a captain, I think there must be a consideration between experience and longevity, and the person knowing themselves, being more settled in their life, versus the energy and the enthusiasm that perhaps younger crew bring to that. So in my naive eyes, I would always consider a good mix of both of those would be the ultimate combination. But like you said, it's every boat is different, isn't it? So I guess it is very much dependent on the yacht and the program as to who they choose. But you bring a valid point up that I hadn't considered, actually, is the influx of crew from other marine industries at the moment with everything that's happened in 2020.
Yep.
Of course, we've got a whole new swathe of people, which is great, because we've all been talking for years about, you know, finding new and great crew is such an important part of the industry, and having new, you know, fresh ideas and fresh blood in, you know, both from the owners, you know, to the crew as well, is really important. But yes, it must be hugely tough at the moment to start another, you know, to start a career from another part of the marine industry.
It is, and it's a transition. You know, the commercial guys, you know, we get commercial CVs through, and we have a template, and we say, well, you need to adapt it to yachting, for example. And the commercial environment and the cruise environment are very different to private yachting. So we will help them and guide them through that process as well. But, you know, we've got jobs, and some jobs, a deckhand job will have over 300 applications at the moment. Yeah, that's, you know, there's a lot of crew. You know, we had a lot within yachting, but then we bring in the cruise as well and bring the commercial in. It's a really competitive at the moment, and that's why we're, guiding and helping. Okay, guys, we can move you into an estate, for example, and we've got an estate where you can go and do 12-month contracts, spend some time, and then that's not wasted. You're learning new skills, you're continuing, etc., and then you can come back across into yachting if that's the case. But yeah, it seems to be, especially at the moment, incredibly, and then you get the crew that shows, the ones that take the initiative. We're actually seeing an improvement in, cover letters, the way the crew are presenting themselves, and the initiative they're showing, because they realize, yes, it is competitive, and they've got to put their best foot forward at all times. So
it is, and I think, sorry, go ahead, Tita.
No, I just thought, because we are talking about now about the crew coming from the cruise ship industry over to yachting. So can you also see a movement from yachting industry to the land-based jobs through HR Elite? And then you also say, really fascinating for me is that you have then internal recruitment in Hill Robinson, 12 different offices, and then you have then two arms. So let's say there's the yachting arm, and then there is the elite, which is then to the land-based jobs. So you are basically covering it all in your own company already. But how do you see then the transition from yacht crew? Are they now looking for more stable life on shore-based, or has the COVID or has the situation changed that at all?
It's interesting you say that, Tita, because what we have found is that there have been crew, especially, I know in Australia, because our travel restrictions have been so tight, that quite a lot of the crew that were kind of stuck here at home have actually taken land-based jobs. For example, nurses, which are always very, hard to find normally, is even harder because the nurses have been home and they've gone back to normal nursing. And we've found quite a bit of that. We've also, the same with beauty therapists is another one, and chefs. We've actually found that, quite a lot of, the crew, and in South Africa the same too, because of travel restrictions and not being able to travel, to have some stability and to keep working, they've actually stayed and have gone back to land. And they're saying, okay, yes, we would like to head back into yachting, but not till we know what's happening, which, as we know, none of us do. It's that crystal ball situation. Also too, some of them are very hesitant about going and taking a job in another country, because we don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to be stuck there, what's going to happen with COVID going forward. We have found that there's been quite a few that are just saying, listen, I'm just going to stay put for now and just see what happens.
Yeah, and also I think that people are they're stuck on the yachts. There is some problems in the families, they can't travel. So it is a bit of a scary situation at the moment. And I can well understand that if you can find a land-based job for a little while, so that's an option for many.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very, very challenging year. Trying to get crew moved around the world. It's been very, very tough on all levels. We've been lucky with our fleet. I mean, there's all kinds of the people have taken pay cuts to keep their job. We know that. You hear of crew being laid off, crew that have accepted, lower salaries or less, forced leave. There's been a whole range of things that, depending on the boat and the owner. Obviously, the owners unable to use their boats as much, which has been a big factor. There's a lot less boats going over to the Caribbean for the charter season. The movement of the boats have been a lot. Yes. So, I mean, it's been an incredibly challenging year all round, really.
So it's a kind of a transition throughout the yachting also, which I think all the industries has it at the moment. So new people coming in, the other people going out. But what I would like to still say, so Hill Robinson Elite is now part of Life After Yachting, and
Yes.
if anybody wants to look, get in touch or look at the jobs Hill Robinson Elite has. So they have a profile on our platform, and you can contact Donna or the other girls throughout the platform directly and get in touch. And well, as Donna has promised, so there is help for the CV and redoing that, and I'm sure there's it's a new adventure for you too, isn't it? Hill Robinson Elite is, how long has it been?
We're just over a year and a bit now, officially. So yeah, I mean, we kind of call HR Cruz the big brother and HR Elite's the little sister. She's just like a little toddler coming along. But it is great to be able to, yacht crew, put them into estates or put them into within the Hill Robinson, family and group. And also the other way around is, for people that come from land, that we can teach them about the yachting world as well. So it's been great to feed off each other and do that.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much for your knowledge and your experience and sharing a bit about your journey and how you arrived here and all the ways that you're helping crew on both sides of the exit. I think that was really, really interesting. And as Tit has said, you can contact Donna and the team via the online portal, which you can access via the website lifeafteryachting.com, and you can arrange short meetings to kind of ask any questions that you need and then go from there. So do pop on and let Donna know if you have any questions. And thank you very much, Donna. That was perfect timing. We love it when a plan comes together. So we will swiftly transition now and let you get on over in Australia, and we will be moving on to talk with Inga. So thank you for your time, Donna. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.